This is a handwritten resume from the 14th century. Its owner penned 11 things that they were good at. Among the things written was bridge building, creating defense structures, and weapons making. And seemingly as an afterthought, the last item pointed out that they can do sculpting and painting. If you were to receive this resume, an artist is not what would have come to your mind. But almost 600 years later, that is what we tend to remember them as. After seeing their works of the Mona Lisa and Jesus at the Last Supper, it is a very logical conclusion to make. But was this person just an artist? No. This is Leonardo da Vinci. Hi guys, Random here. If you take a look at Da Vinci's early life, you will see little remarkable about it. He was born in 1452, an illegitimate son of a farmer's daughter and a prominent lawyer. He never received a formal education. At a young age, his artistic ability had started to show. By age 14, he got an apprenticeship under Andrea del Verrocchio. With his guiding hand, he learned very quickly. Besides just painting and sculpting, he learned metallurgy, chemistry, woodwork, leatherwork, and much more. Verrocchio's other students of the time would have been content with simply knowing how to paint something that looks good. But Leonardo was different. He was not contented with just simply knowing how things look good on paper. He wanted to know why they looked the way that they did. Take the Mona Lisa for example. Her famous smile did not come about by accident. Leonardo had studied and knew each muscle that was involved in making a smile. He was dedicated to understanding. In his time, there was no detailed sketches of the working of the inner body, no textbooks to reference. In order to acquire this information, he needed to dissect some cadavers and explore what was inside. And the hospitals were all too willing to provide the cadavers for him, due to the detailed sketches that he could make. In his lifetime, he dissected over 30 different bodies. This was a man dedicated to the point of death. And that access that he had gave him an unprecedented insight into the inner workings of the human body. For example, he was the first to describe that the heart was a muscle and a four-chambered organ that contracts and goes to the lung. Understanding what the vascular system looks like, he could recognize coronary disease. In 1506, he witnessed a 100-year-old man suddenly died. He was able to get the body for an autopsy. When it was completed, he recognized that his arteries had narrowed. This is the first confirmed case of a heart attack. The next time something like this would have been described was over 150 years later. Another famous drawing from Da Vinci was this. This is the Vitruvian Man. It is a representation of what a perfect man will look like. Each of its proportions is very symmetrical. Here's how it works. Outstretch your hand and take a measurement from the tip of your right hand to the tip of your left hand. The measurement that you get will be your height. His fascination went beyond the human body. He also was fascinated with plants as well as water. His obsession with plants led him to botany. Getting an in-depth knowledge of plants, his drawings came to life. He brought that same enthusiasm when he was studying water. In the Codex Lexa, a scientific journal that he wrote, one of the things that he discovered was how to stop a body of water from flowing. The invention that he made was called the lock. It was a mitre stoppage that met at a 45-degree angle. It is so effective that there was no need to redesign it. It is still being used today. Another one of his fascinations was the sky. Here's another one of his sketches. It is called the Aerial Spring. He drew it when he was employed as a military contractor for the Duke of Milan in 1490. Its purpose was to fly, designed to be worked by 4 men. They would have kept walking in a circular motion and hopefully they would have generated enough force for them to lift off. It was a nice design, but if he did try to build it, it would not have worked. The reason why, it would have been heavy and the men would not have been able to generate enough force to get it off the ground. But don't just throw away the design. The principles that Leonardo used here is the same principles that are used in making modern-day helicopters. Here's another one of his speculation. That pyramid-shaped structure was a tent. He thought that if you had a tent that was in similar proportion to your body, you would be able to jump from any height without being injured. This was another one that he didn't test it, but if he did, he would have found out that it would have worked. Adrian Nicholas, a British skydiver, ascended 10,000 feet in a hot air balloon. Attached to him was Da Vinci's design of a parachute. When he was released, he safely landed on the ground. These works would have required a deep understanding of mathematics, which is something that Da Vinci also studied. This is a mathematical equation for perspective. P equals F brackets X. It's used to realistically depict a 3D object on a 2D plane, converging at a vanishing point. His depiction of Christ at the Last Supper is a perfect depiction of this. The perspective line converges on Christ, showing that he was the most important person in this painting. And there's a reason why this painting is still with us today. The quality of paint that was available to him was egg base. It was very dull looking and lackluster. So painters of the time started to move to oil paint. But because of how difficult it is to make, it didn't have a consistent quality, and over time it would begin to fade. So he invented his own paint. Boiling the pigments in linseed oil and adding 5% beeswax, it stabilized the paint. It gave it a very consistent quality and prevented from darkening when it reached the canvas. Da Vinci did all of this not because of fame, but because he wanted to. Take a look at his notes. These were written from left to right. The reason why is because he was left-handed. He didn't want to mess up his drawing and works by smudging the ink. And the only way to read these notes is to look at them in a mirror. This indicated that he had no intention of publishing these works. It was for his eyes only, and his contemporaries had no idea that these works existed. It was found 250 years after his death. He studied all of this work and gained all of this insight because he was truly interested in what he was doing. So a question comes up, was Leonardo da Vinci an artist? The answer, yes. But it's not the whole answer. That is like saying a car is something with 4 wheels. It is true, but not completely accurate. A better description for Leonardo da Vinci is a scientist who also loved painting. Thanks for watching.